Good God. I'm telling you, YouTube needs to get their act together. Seriously. It's absolutely insane the hoops you have to jump through to get this live to work. Yes, I'm angry. What is this line right here? Who knows? But enjoy it. How's that? Whew, super sweaty. Okay, now your face is all beet red, and we're here, and I'm annoyed. All right, focus. Hello, the camera's over here, and welcome to Gremlin Lord Live, episode 8. Today we have quite a few horror movies to talk about. Oh, I see that this isn't even showing that this is live. Okay. Oh, because I'm looking at the wrong thing. This is the one that's live. There we go. I am off center, which according to this actually I'm not off center, which is kind of funny. So the sound is going to be awful, just an FYI. Mostly because I have the air conditioner on, and that is a necessity. So we're going to have to be okay with that, guys. The best part is that I sent out a tweet, and that tweet is now invalid. Because the stream had to mess up. Anywho. Let's spell it right. YouTube. Bow, 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 bow. I'm trying to think like this is me slouch. I'm just trying to get like comfortable here. Okay. I don't mean to waste the first 3 minutes of stream, but alrighty. So we got some movies. The movies we're going to talk about today are the ones you see in the thumbnail, which are, keep looking up here because the camera's always up there. They are Longlegs, Maxxxine, The Fabulous Ford, and A Quiet Place Day One. So, I forgot I have a document where I started writing notes for these movies. Hey, there it is. Alright, did I open up pages? Where are you, pages? There you are, pages. I'm going to open up a recent one. It's not what I asked. Create a blank document, that's fine. Apparently everything that's technical is going to be annoying today. Okay, I want you to open this document. No, you have to choose first from a type of document. No, I want to choose the document that I already start at. Okay. So let's start with Maxxxine. So Maxxxine is a sequel. You know, part of the whole Hollywood has no more ideas, everything's a sequel, prequel type of thing. So Maxxxine is the sequel to the movie X by, I want to say his name is Ty West, not T.I. West. So we're going to call him Ty West, not T.I. West. Maxxxine was a character in X, which I talked about before in a previous video, that was very okay. It wasn't some groundbreaking horror film. It was basically kind of a rehash of classic slashers and snuff films. Very predictable, not very exciting. Characters were pretty flat, but it did the job that you were looking for it to do. So, I had to put test because nothing wants to work on YouTube. So apparently there's a little icon that you pick to pick your orientation, but once you make the video, you can't change it, which is stupid. It's like, hey, you have this orientation and you're stuck with it. Anyway, Maxxxine. So Mia Goth plays Maxxxine Minx, former porn star and now wannabe actress. Yep, it happened last time too because they keep changing it. Last time it was in the settings. This time it's not in the settings. It's in a little screen before you even go into the settings. So, I don't know. YouTube is very finicky and silly and dumb. Which reminds me, I didn't delete that tweet because that tweet is not going to link you to an existing video. So while X was set in the 70s, Maxxxine is set in the 80s in Hollywood, Los Angeles. Very grungy, very dirty. Basically everything is Skid Row. I mean, it was pretty seedy back then anyway, before they had a big cleanup movement and revitalization of the area. I want to say that was in the 90s. But anywho, so Maxxxine gets cast in a horror movie. She thinks it's part of the porn to horror movie pipeline, which other actors have done. And she's very excited, obviously. She still thinks that she's going to be a star. She has it very set. But unfortunately, a lot of her past keeps coming up to haunt her. So I would say you do need to see X in order to see, well, to understand more of what's happening in Maxxxine. You should probably see X first. You do not have to see Pearl because Pearl is a prequel to X and it doesn't even, has nothing to do with Maxxxine whatsoever. So, I am a star. Let's see. The movie has quite a few other actors in it that you might recognize, like Kevin Bacon, who has this very, very thick, campy Southern accent. He sounds like Foghorn Leghorn. He's a PI who's sent to track down Maxxxine and for his employer. You got Halsey, who is a musician. She used to be with Elon Musk, right? I don't think she's with him anymore. So obviously she has very, very poor taste in men. Oh, let's see. She is a singer. I was trying to see. I know she has an illness. See if she was still married to Elon Musk. I don't really follow her personal life like that. Anyway, she's in it. Did she do good? Who? Halsey? I mean, she was fine. She's not like a main role or anything. She's one of Maxxine's friends. Who's in a couple scenes until she's not. Giancarlo Esposito, who everybody, he's really hot right now, which is interesting. He's a bit later in his career and people are absolutely loving him. He's from The Boys. I think Breaking Bad as well. Yeah, I mean, that's really the only people that I recognized. That's on me. But anyhow, so it's a very grungy. Like, everything looks dirty. Everything, it's shot in a very 80s way. It's still doing the homage to the 80s, just like how X was an homage to the 70s. It is still very much that. But it's not as cliche as I felt X was. You're like, hello? Hello! Wow, that's racist, Prince. Not on the stream, buddy. Good grief. Yeah, so it's definitely shot in an 80s way. There's a lot of, even 70s way still. There's some like lingering shots of like characters further away walking and stuff. It has chases in it that seem to go on a little too long, you know, like 80s movies do. There's that slight kind of cheese factor. There's a group of like, I guess they're Christians, but they're like anti-horror movies because they're calling them smut, and they're satanic, and they're the pathway to hell, and they're like all over the place protesting and stuff. Very 80s, because I mean that is what happened. Dungeons and Dragons is Satanism, and rock and roll is Satanism, and hip hop is Satanism, and everything's Satanism. Still happens today, though, so that's exciting. Yay for Satanism. So, what you're going to do about that. But anyway, so we see Maxxxine. She's really getting her acting role, but she keeps getting... wait, where are my notes? I have notes. I don't need to sit here and just ad-lib stuff. There we go. So what it did well was... and this is my pet peeve, I talked about this before, is when period pieces, get my notes. I didn't do a bunch of it, because I just get bored writing them. But a lot of times period pieces like to remind you of what period they're in. So like how Stranger Things, the first season was fine. It was late 70s, early 80s, whatever. Second season, or was it third season, it just punched you in the face with 80s, and like here's 80s soda, here's an 80s outfit montage, here's an 80s this, here's an like, it's like here, like they don't want you to just be in the movie and show you life in that time period. They want to make sure you know what's going on in that time period. It's too much. This movie doesn't do that. There was a couple shots. There was a shot of like a new Coke can, which is okay. I understand what the shot was. It was a close-up of the can falling in a machine, so I understand it was artistic in that sense. It just happened to be new Coke, which is an 80s reference, obviously, when they changed the formula. But it wasn't that. There wasn't a lot of that, which is really good, because it just kind of sucks you out of the movie, because it's too much in your face, and it feels, what's the word? Artificial, when it's just, hey, look, guys, we're in the 80s, guys. Look at us, we're in the 70s. That 70s show does it sometimes. It's just like, ugh. Like, I get it. We're in the 70s. You don't have to say, oh my God, let me get my brand new, I don't know, Etch-a-Sketch or something. Something like that. It's just like, we got it, guys. You're in the time period. But it didn't have that. Even the filming had some type of a, not filter, but kind of a film grain to it that made it look like an 80s film. Like, if you were to show it to somebody and they didn't recognize any of the actors, they'd probably think it was an 80s movie. It's pretty brutal. There's quite a bit of violence in it, obviously. There's one scene in particular in an alleyway that I was not expecting. I won't spoil it for you, but it was had some interesting violence in it, and I was like, oh, caught me off guard. But to be honest, it wasn't as gory as I thought it would be. The ending twist was kind of predictable, to be honest. I wasn't entirely surprised by who Kevin Bacon's employer was, but I also didn't really care who the employer was. Alrighty, well, I'll still be here. So, if you swing back in. So Kevin Bacon, was just such a mess. But anyway, so the employer reveal was, like I said, it wasn't anything that blew me away. I wasn't expecting it. I wasn't even thinking about who it could be. So when they showed it, it was like, okay, I accept that. It was, to me, it was even more 80s, the reveal of who was stalking Maxxxine. It was, alright, here we go. Yeah. I think Mia Goth does a great job at being unhinged, that she can really portray that very well. She's sitting there and she can be super sweet about something because she has that southern accent. And then she can say, you know, and I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to rip your head off. And you're never going to see the light of day again. Like, she's really good at that. And I mean, I'm pretty sure she's like married to Shia LaBeouf, who also has that ability. They both have massive anger issues. I think she's being sued right now for kicking an extra in the head on the set of Maxxxine. It's probably the guy from the alley scene. She kicked him in the head full force and told him to like get over it. So that's her. I don't think there'll be another one. I don't think there needs to be another. If there's another one, it doesn't need to be. Ty West, if you're watching this, and I know you are, Ty West, you don't need to make another Maxxxine movie. I'm not really sure where you'd go from here. The ending was succinct. It closed the story up nicely. And that's that. You don't need anything else. I keep looking over here because my camera is usually over there. But it's here. Yeah, you don't need anything else from that. I do still really want to see Pearl, though. But unfortunately, it's on one of those pay channels or whatever that I don't have. I do have it on my list of movies to buy. It's on Paramount. Wait a second. It says it's on Prime Video. Don't you lie to me. Is it on Prime Video? Hold, please. I need to look this up. Amazon. If it's on Prime Video, I can watch it. There's also a new Batman show on Prime. A new Batman cartoon, which is going to get the dude bros very upset because they made the Penguin a woman. And they're gonna cry. Oh, and there's a new season of them. Oh, Lisa Frankenstein is on Prime. Can you get this off my fucking screen? Fallout, yeah. Nobody cares. I don't care about Fallout. People are like, are you gonna watch Fallout? No, I'm not gonna watch Fallout. Will I ever watch Fallout? Maybe. Am I gonna watch anytime soon? No. Let's see. I don't think it's on Prime. Wait. It is on Prime. Oh my God. I'm ready. Wait. Oh no, Infinity Pool is not on Prime. Alright, so that means I gotta watch Pearl soon. Alright, I'm ready for that. Ready. That one looks more my speed, because it's like she's super unhinged in that, Mia Goth. And, oh man, she looks crazy in it, and I can't wait. I'm so excited. I do want to finish The Boys first. I got one more episode, the season finale. And then, anyway, back to Maxxxine, guys. Back to Maxxxine. So, overall, I'd say Maxxxine is a good movie. I enjoyed it. I would 100% recommend it. If you enjoyed X, even if you didn't enjoy X as much, I say that Maxxxine is an improvement on X, for sure. Yeah. And it's also really nice to watch a movie that doesn't have, like, cell phones in it, if that makes sense. I think it adds more to the plot. Characters just can't, like, do things. Like, she was trying to look up somebody, and, like, or, like, where a mystery VHS came from. She talked to her friend who works at a VHS store, and he, like, figured out who makes the tape and all that stuff. So, it was interesting. So, what are we going to rate it? What are we going to rate Maxxxine? I did not rate it on my Discord. It currently is sitting at a 6.8 out of 10. I think it's a little low. I wouldn't give it a 6.8. I mean, to me, I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the overall experience. I'm recommending it. I would say 7.5, 8. I'm going to bump it up to 8 because IMDb doesn't let you do halves. So we're going to give it an 8 out of 10. Maxxxine. 8 out of 10. Oh, you know who else is in it? I'm sorry, I forgot this. The other guy. He played a police officer. God, what's his name? He was in Ezra. God, what's his name? I'm going to know as soon as I see it. Bobby Cannavale. Yeah, he played a cop. He played a cop who wanted to be an actor, so he kept acting in his cop parts. It was really odd. It was funny. It was funny enough, I should say. But yeah, so Maxxxine, we're giving an 8 out of 10. I enjoyed it. It might not be for everybody. Alright, the next one. We're going to do A Quiet Place Day 1. Quiet Place Day 1 is a prequel to A Quiet Place. And A Quiet Place Chapter 2, or Part 2, which I have not seen the second Quiet Place. I've only seen the first one, with John Krasinski and Emily Blunt. And I liked it. This movie suffers from the same issues as that one does. I didn't see the second one, so I can't tell you what that issues had that one. That was a weird sentence. The issues being that the monsters are sometimes inconsistent in their abilities. So the monster can hear you rip your shirt from down the block, but the monster can't hear your breathing or your heart beating when you're, 2 inches from it. I thought that was a little odd. Maybe they explained that in the second one. I don't know. That maybe it can't hear biological noises. I don't know. That wouldn't make sense to me. So I honestly don't know what it would be. So, anywho, this movie starts. I should have looked up her name before I did this. Lupita Nyong'o as Samira, and Joseph Quinn as Eric. You also have Alex Wolff, who is the boy from, well, he's a man, but he played the son in Hereditary. I thought I recognized him. He looks a little different. He has like longer hair and a beard. And then I'm going to completely butcher his name. Jamon Hunsu, who I think is in the second movie. I think his character's in the second Quiet Place. Not entirely sure. Not entirely worried about it. I own it. I think it's in the other room. But I never watched it. I should watch it. So, following Samira as She's on a group trip in New York City. Everything is going fine until the invasion that sends the world into silence begins. Can the city stay quiet? And can Sam and Eric, a new unlikely friend, make it somewhere safe? But no matter what happens, don't make a sound, or you just might find out what happens in A Quiet Place Day 1. Wah, 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 wah. So Samira is a cancer patient. She is in hospice outside of the city. She's very bitter about it. She's very upset. She's very depressed. She's in this hospice care center with a bunch of people who are at least 20, 30, 40 years older than she is. She has a cat. The cat's a big part of the movie. So if you like cats, there's a cat in it for you. So her and her hospice group, they go to a theater in New York to see a show. And while they're in the theater, that's when... no, I'm lying to you. Once they're leaving the theater, there's a call that they need to evacuate the city. And Samira is very upset because she was promised they were going to get pizza. And she's, 6 months away from death. She wants her pizza. So they're loading into the bus to leave, to get out of the city because they're being evacuated. And that's when A Quiet Place occurs. And the meteors start coming down from the sky, and aliens are eating everybody up. So if you didn't know, the aliens hunt via sound. They are, I believe, blind, but they hunt via sound. So any sound you make, they come to you and they hit you. Same thing with car alarms. They don't distinguish between inanimate sounds and regular and human sounds. So you could throw a rock, and when it lands, they go after it. Which I'm surprised they didn't really try doing. I mean, they did use some car alarm stuff, but I thought it was kind of odd that nobody was just like, here you go, just throw a rock that way, Let's move it on. I don't know. And then so basically, Samira is trying to survive. But she actually doesn't want to evacuate. So they have boats that are evacuating people at some of the shorelines. The military... I don't want to spoil anything. Is it spoils, though? Moderate spoilers. So the bridges are blown up in New York. If you know anything about New York, there's a lot of bridges that go in and out to the boroughs. They're all destroyed by the military. And some people were I feel incorrectly saying that, oh, well, it's to stop the aliens. Which, yes, it is to stop the aliens. But, because the aliens don't like water, by the way. But it's also so the aliens can't jump from the bridges down onto the boats. Yeah, it's a conspiracy theory. It's not a conspiracy theory if I'm correct. Thanks. Like my little beachy tank top. It's nice. Hi there. Talk about A Quiet Place Day 1. If you're looking for a straight up horror movie, it's not this. Much like the first movie, it's very much a human story. There's aliens that are killing people, but the focus is on Samira, and she meets Eric, who's played by Joseph Quinn, and their experiences. He wants to evacuate. She doesn't care because she's going to be dead anyway because she has cancer. So she wants to go get pizza. Alrighty. Well, thanks for hanging out for this brief moment. I need views and I need likes. So go ahead, like the stream before you fall asleep. Like it. I demand you. So basically Samira's on her own personal journey of getting to this pizza place that she knows from her childhood or her youth, why, thank you. That's how it gets pushed down. And Eric kind of goes with her because he doesn't really know what else to do. He's British. He's not from America. He's just in here. He's in the country for law school. He doesn't have much of a back. That's his whole background story. She asks him, "Oh, don't you have somebody you can reach out to?" And he's like, "No." And that's it. So, not much of a backstory for him. Obviously, we get more of Samira's backstory, her childhood, her parents. It is a really odd scene where they go into an apartment building and the cat goes to a door and sits on a doormat. Okay. To me, I think nothing of it. I'm like, oh, okay, the cat wants to go in that apartment. Cool, awesome, total tubular. So then Eric asks Samira, "Is this your apartment?" She says, "Yes." And I'm like, it's not her apartment. She lives in hospice. It's not her apartment. So they go in, and apparently, and she's like rummaging through stuff. So again, I'm just thinking, oh, they're just ransacking somebody's apartment. Okay, makes sense. Even though it's only been a few hours since the aliens came down. But turns out it actually was her apartment. I guess it was her apartment before she went into hospice care, which is odd because she still has the apartment, even though she knows she's not going to get any better. So it just feels kind of odd that you're holding on to that. So I'm going to lower this a little bit more. Prepare yourself for noise. Okay. Just because I'm leaning back, and I want to show you my gums. But yeah, so I thought that was really odd. They do share some nice moments. They immediately start bonding. Like, they're very close automatically. Maybe it's just the kind of people they are, or maybe it's just kind of movie magic. They are not romantically involved, which I'm very excited about. Thank you, directors of The Quiet Place, for not making people romantically involved just because they're the leads. Completely not necessary. I do have A Quiet Place. It felt very tense. Much like the first movie, there's not a lot of talking, except for in certain situations where they can talk, because there's ambient noise, like rain, because the monsters can't pick you off in the rain, because one, the monsters don't like rain, and two, because the rain makes noise. Oh, that's for Longlegs. I'm reading the wrong review that I wrote. I think Lupita was great. I think she was fantastic. She really embodies this woman who doesn't have much to live for, and just wants to end her life in a way that she can get her final piece of pizza. So I think she did a fantastic job. Apparently she was deathly afraid of cats. This is like her first interaction with cats, which I find super bizarre because she was very close to the cat. Like holding the cat, touching the cat, petting the cat. So she got over that fear pretty well. I didn't like that. Yeah, the monsters. We already thought about the monsters and aliens being inconsistent. I do find it really strange. So, New York City's obviously massive. I think 7 million people live there in the city and its boroughs. Obviously, the movie only takes place in one area of the city, but there's tons of people. I guess maybe people were just holed up and we didn't see a bunch. We saw a couple crowds here and there, but to be honest, it was pretty desolate, which I thought was pretty odd. Because the movie only takes place, I would say, no more than 3 days, maybe 4 days. I didn't count how many times they went to sleep. It's kind of hard to tell sometimes. But I would expect there to be a lot of people. People did get evacuated, but I would expect thousands of people, you know? But it was pretty empty, which I found very odd. The occasional straggler here and there that they would interact with. But other than that, it was pretty empty. Let's see. I don't know. It was shot mostly in London, which I think is funny. It's always funny when they shoot in other cities. Pretend that they're a different city. Oh, the cat's name was Frodo. In the movie. In real life, it's two cats named Nico and Schnitzel. Just reading the trivia if there's anything worth sharing. Not really. I just clicked on the same thing twice because it loaded as I was clicking and moved my screen up and down. I hate that. Well, that's true. So there's not really explained how the aliens are on comets or meteors or whatever. It's not explained if they are just drifting through space and they happen to land here, if they were sent here. They can't breathe underwater, which is interesting because it makes you wonder how they got through space, because they came in on a rock. They didn't come in a ship. So it's like, well, there's no oxygen in space like that. So what are they breathing? I don't know. Maybe they don't even breathe oxygen. But there's not really much in space because it's called a vacuum. So I'm not really sure what they were doing. The cat was incredibly quiet, which is odd. I mean, no purring, no nothing. Not that I want to see the cat get eaten by the aliens, because I don't. But, I mean, you would think a cat would be purring when it's being pet by its owner. You know? But no. But to be honest, I liked it. If you're going in thinking it's going to be this crazy horror movie, it's not. I'll say it's listed as drama and horror, which it is. It's very human. Again, it's very focused on how humanity deals with it, as opposed to a creature feature, aliens, fight kind of thing. So, if I had to rate it, that's a toughie because I did enjoy it. I really did. I didn't think it was anything groundbreaking. It wasn't anything that blew me away. It was very enjoyable, but it just wasn't something that was like, oh my God, this is like a whole new take on something. And again, I don't know what happens in the second one. So I can't comment if this is paralleling that or anything like that. So I think I'm going to give it a 7. There's some good scores tonight, guys, because I've just generally been having a good time with these movies recently. I saw a lot of them in a row. Wait a sec. Are you joking? Sorry, there's like an advertisement going on about new faces of horror. And the girl from It Follows is the girl from Longlegs. Are you joking? I had no no idea. Oh, I haven't looked at the IMDb out of Longlegs yet. Wow! That's cool. I like how my mic picks up the ice in the thing. Anyhow, so yeah, Quiet Place Day 1, I do recommend. 7 out of 10. Good human story. Nothing groundbreaking, but certainly an enjoyable experience for all. And even one of my aunts, technically my ex's aunts, who doesn't like horror movies, watched this and enjoyed it. Which I was like, really? And then the other aunt said that she would like to see it. And I was just like, if you want to see it, I'll go with you and see it. Like, now that I've seen it, it's not, like I said, I think she'd be fine. There is blood in it and stuff, but it's not that much blood. What's it rated? PG-13. It's rated PG-13. Maxxine's rated R, by the way. But The Quiet Place is PG-13. Because again, it's not about people being ripped to shreds. Unless they really wanted to show that. They didn't. I think she would like it. Once she gets back in town, we'll have to see. All right. We're already halfway done our movies, guys. The next movie is, if you want to know, I'm saving Longlegs for the end. The Fabulous Four. Not to be confused with the Fantastic Four, which is a superhero movie, which is coming out, what, next year or something? This is The Fabulous Four, starring Bette Midler as Marilyn, Susan Sarandon as Lou, Megan Mullally as Alice, and Cheryl Lee Ralph as Kitty. I want to see their ages. I know they're older, obviously. This just doesn't just show people's ages. That's so annoying when they don't. Just show me their age. Don't give me the birthday. Give me their age. I don't want to do math. Bette Midler. Bette Midler's in her late 70s. Bette Midler is 78. All right, so Bette Midler, 78. Susan Sarandon. Is 77. Okay. I know Megan Mullally isn't as old. 65. So she's a good 12 years younger than Susan Sarandon. In the movie, they're not that far apart. They're basically like seniors and freshmen age differences. Cheryl Lee Ralph, I'm not familiar with a lot of her stuff. I know she's in Abbott Elementary, which I haven't. She's 67. Okay, so Megan Mullally's the youngest. And Cheryl Lee Ralph is the next youngest. And Sarandon and then Bette Midler. All right, so this is another one of those, they're called book club movies, which is basically a group of older actors, in this case women, who are being showcased as still being vibrant with it and living life, you know, enjoying life before the end type of situation. And this is a genre that I've been watching quite a bit, and I've kind of always been interested in. There was a movie that came out like 12, 14 years ago called Red, which was Helen Mirren, Bruce Willis, Morgan Freeman, John Malkovich, and they're all like older, retired assassins. I've never seen it. It is on Peacock, though. Both of them, the first and second one. So I do need to watch it. Finally. I wanted to see it in theaters, so I was just so in it. I mean, Bruce Willis wasn't that old to me, but I knew that they were older. And it's this idea of older actors still headlining films. And it's interesting to me, both in the sense that they're still working, but also I can watch them be old on screen. It's a very odd thing. Like watching Susan Sarandon, right? Her face looks fairly younger than her age. Oh, hi, welcome back. We're talking about the Fabulous Four. You missed The Quiet Place. Veteran with the bat. But Susan Sarandon, so she obviously, her face looks younger. But when she walks kind of like an older lady. And it was very interesting because it's like, that's the type of stuff I'm looking at. Like she's walking away after a dramatic scene. I'm just kind of like, look at her. She's walking like an old lady. Because she is an old lady. She's 77. But it's just, I don't know. I like the idea of being 77 and headlining a movie. That's great. I think it's such a cool thing because that's the kind of stuff that wouldn't have happened in Hollywood in yesteryear. You know? I think it's why I like these type of movies. Because you've known these people. You've known Bette Midler, Susan Sarandon, Megan Mullally, Shirley Ralph for decades. And to have them still out there doing things is great. So Prince, Bette Midler is 78. Susan Sarandon is 77. Shirley Ralph is 67, I think I said. Yeah, and then Megan Mullally is 65. I didn't realize Megan Mullally was that old. I mean, I know she was in Will and Grace, which was in the late 90s, early 2000s. I guess I just didn't realize she was that much older. I don't know. They do look great. I like Will and Grace. I think it's problematic here and there. You know, it's funny. I thought the revival was pretty funny too. Some of the anti-Trump stuff was a little too much, and once they kind of broke away from that, it was better. Like in the beginning, it was very anti-Trump, and it's just kind of like, I don't need to hear more about Trump. He's still around, and he's still a pain in the ass. Like, can we get over it? But once they moved past that, it was much better. Yeah, I did enjoy the revival. I didn't think I would as much, but I did. So the basic story here is that Marilyn, who's Bette Midler, is getting married. And she moved down to Key West, Florida. She's marrying a guy that she met 2 months ago at the DMV. And her husband died 6 months prior. And her best friends are Alice, Megan Mullally, and Kitty, Shirley Ralph. Now, Susan Sarandon is also one of her closest, bestest friends, but they had a falling out like 40 years ago, and they haven't really spoken since. It's not so much getting your groove on again. It's about rekindling friendships and forgiving wrongdoings and realizing that time in life is limited and you should cherish it and spend it with the people that you love. There's no sex. There's no nude scenes. No veteran will be bummed to hear that there's no Bette Midler full frontal nudity. No, there is no sex. There's a lot of sex talk, which is kind of a thing for these type of movies with older actors. It's kind of they go for that shock factor where it's like, oh, the 70-year-olds are talking about vaginas. You know, it's that type of thing. Was there any sex in these movies that I watched? In Maxxxine, yeah. That's the only one. There's not really a lot of time to have sex in A Quiet Place Day One. Pretty sure the noise would attract the aliens. So, I don't think you want that happening. Yes, Maxxine does have, but not her. She's not doing anything naughty in it. It's literally like a scene she walks in on a set and somebody's going to Pound Town. So, but yeah, so Kitty and Alice are going down to Florida because they want to go to Marilyn's wedding. Prince, you keep asking me these questions. I'm trying to talk about a movie. God. It depends on what your date likes. My favorite movie of these four is Longlegs. But that might not be what you're looking for in a date. A Quiet Place is probably the most balanced of a movie. So, anyway, Megan Mullally and Sheryl Lee Ralph, Kitty, and you can still ask questions, just try to keep it on topic. Alice and Kitty need to somehow get Lou, Susan Sarandon, down to Florida as well, because she's not going to go to a wedding for this woman because they had a falling out 40 years ago. So they tell her a lie, and it's this bizarre lie that has to do with Ernest Hemingway, and it's super far-fetched and nonsensical. And she buys it, and it's funny. It works. And they all go down to Florida, and boom, surprise, you're not actually here for that. And basically, what happens next is something that I kind of get a little peed off on sometimes. Is miscommunications and refusal to communicate. It's like Susan Sarandon. I always go back to actresses' names because you know who they are. You don't know who Lou is. Like, between Susan Sarandon and Bette Midler, like, all you gotta do is talk. Right? And I know that that's the whole plot of the movie. But it does irk me sometimes because there are a lot of times where they could have just said what they were feeling and you could have resolved things. Like, all you have to do, like, what is going on with you? And then instead of saying it, they just storm off. And it's just like, come on, man, you could have just said it. And that gets a little old. It's a very common movie trope. Movies do it all the time. Like, it's not something that this movie is stuck doing. So, it's fine. And I understand it. I mean, it happens in real life. But eventually, you just gotta say stuff. Like, please, just say it. So the characters very much fit in the usual, I don't want to say tropes, it has a negative connotation to it, but the usual character models that are in these type of movies. So Bette Midler is over the top, surprise, in your face, overcompensating type of character. Susan Sarandon is a very conservative, tight-knit doctor who is close to retiring, but she doesn't want to retire because she's like an old cat lady. It's very, very Diane Keaton. Megan Mullally is what you would expect Megan Mullally to play. A alcoholic, drug user who's always ready to party and sleep with anybody that she sees. And then Sheryl Lee Ralph is more the all-around friend. She's very balanced. She has her own personal issues that she doesn't really force on other people, but is willing to take help for them. And she is a cannabis farmer. So, I have like an itchy nose. I keep itching it, I know. I swear, it's not like coke or anything. It's just boogers. This isn't Maxxxine, okay? She did a lot of coke in Maxxxine. But yeah, so basically they're just kind of going around Key West for bachelorette parties. There's this trio of Gen Z characters who Susan Sarandon meets on the plane. I would think I'd have more energy than I have now if I was doing coke. I am 100% sober, thank you, in the stream. So this trio of Gen Z characters, it's two girls and a gay boy, And they pop up on the plane, and then we see them again in various parts of the story, and they just kind of become kind of part of the group. I don't know. It's very odd. Well, you're never going to see it, so. And it felt a little cringy because, you know, it felt like what people think Gen Z humor is. And those characters were very, like, stereotypical, like, oh, this is what young people are nowadays. And in that same vein, well, that's the thing, they pop up all over the place. Like, they make Susan Sarandon feel good because they're like, oh, they're like, yeah, you're a female doctor. You're like, that's awesome. And you know, she feels good about herself. And they, I don't know, they just kind of pop up here and there, and it's odd, but it's not like terrible. But they just kind of come off a little stereotyped. And then that leads to Bette Midler, who was obsessed with TikTok. They must have said the word TikTok like 600 times. I wonder if TikTok was like a producer or a sponsor of the movie, because it had like actual TikToks in the movie. So like the aspect ratio turned into vertical, and it'd be like Bette Midler's character's TikToks, and she's doing dances and stuff. And the Gen Z characters made TikToks of Susan Sarandon's character called Dr. Love. Can I relate to it? I mean, I'm not obsessed with TikTok. TikTok is on track to be banned, just FYI. Next year, it's going to be, if they don't sell it, it's going to be banned. So, what will Bette Midler do? I don't know. But that part got a little annoying because it's just how obsessive she was with TikTok. Every time, every single scene, she was talking about, oh, we got to capture this. Oh, we got to film this. Oh, get my picture. Oh. And it's her usual over-the-top Bette Midler. Like, oh, guys, take my picture. Like, it was a little much. It was a little much. I get that it's her character, but yeah. So, I will tell you why they haven't spoken in 40 years. Because it's not a secret. I'm pretty sure it's part of the trailer. Basically, Bette Midler took Susan Sarandon's boyfriend way back in college. And Bette Midler ended up marrying him. And they had like 48 years of loving marriage. Like, and that was that. And Susan Sarandon never really forgave her for it. So, I get it. Yeah. It's a really long time to hold a grudge, but I mean, I guess if you don't kind of move on from it, then it's there. Yeah. I don't know. Like I said, there were times, I think I mentioned this in Discord, there were times where I literally laughed out loud. Like, I did laugh quite a bit. There it is, Fabulous Four. It's a typical older lady rom-com type of thing. There's like I said, there's sex talk in it for shock factor. They use a Kegel ball type of thing. Like, you know, it's that. If you watch the trailer, you'd see it. Bruce Greenwood is in it, who I wasn't expecting to see, and he had like longer hair, and it was interesting. Because I've never seen him with like longer hair, like retired dude white hair. Oh, I do want to talk about this cameo. Oh, actually, before I do, so I don't sound like an asshole, let me see if he had a medical issue. He did. Okay, let's not be too mean then. So, it's not a spoiler or anything. Obviously, Bette Midler and Cheryl Lee Ralph, who are both musically inclined. There's going to be some singing. So they sing. I can see clearly now, the rain is gone. But anyway, the cameo is by Michael Bolton. It's not a surprise, guys. It's not some groundbreaking thing. Michael Bolton, the musician. And he was so stiff. But now that I'm looking it up, he had a brain tumor. And he had surgery for his brain tumor. So now I kind of feel like a butthead. Although he was diagnosed in January of this year, this movie was probably filmed prior to that. So he wouldn't have even been diagnosed yet. Oof. But yeah. But he was super stiff. Like animatronic stiff. It was really, really bad. And maybe they booked him and then that was the performance he gave and they really couldn't do anything about it because that's just what you have. And you just kind of, all right, let's roll with it, you know? Which I get. Again, it's an age thing, right? Well, I mean, it's a medical thing. He had a brain tumor. But he's 71, Michael Bolton. He looks really good for 71, by the way. But yeah, it was very stiff. It was very odd. And all people in the audience were like kind of murmuring about it. Like he was just... Like it was really bad. But again, it is what it is. That was one of my comments that I wrote down about the movie. But yeah, so now that I know, I thought I remembered something about a medical issue with him. So this movie only made $1.7 million worldwide. Yikes. I mean, $1 million of that was in its opening weekend. I mean, look, it's not a terrible movie. It's a fine movie to go watch and, you know, chuckle at. Yes, there's quite a bit of cringy humor in there. It wasn't enough to make me hate it or anything. There was a really attractive guy in it. He plays Cheryl Lee Ralph's grandson. His name is Caden Well Bennett. He's only been in 3 things. He's been in Love Everlasting, Die Wehrmacht, which is German. Is he German? Coping with the eventual demise of his mother, has vivid visions of death as he struggles with his own loss of sanity and a faceless man in this unforgiving void of madness. Add it to my watch list. I don't think it's on anything. Because he plays her grandson, and he's gay. And he's very good looking. And we got to see him in a thong. So, it's a good part of the movie. Best part of the movie, right there. His mother is like some born-again Christian religious nut. There's quite a bit of negative comments about Christianity in the movie. So I wonder if that rubs people the wrong way. It's nothing explicitly like, you know, Christianity is bad. It's the mother, well, she's the daughter of Cheryl Lee Ralph. So, but she's very judgmental and very Christian after her divorce. So it's not so much anti-Christian as it is anti-her and her usage of Christianity. But I was very surprised because there was quite a few instances of that. And that's not usually something that they would mention in these type of movies because they don't want to offend older lady crowds because older ladies are on all types of the political spectrum. So that I thought was interesting. You gotta look him up. Caden Well Bennett. Caden with a K. I think that's pretty much it for this movie. I mean, like I said, it wasn't bad. It was fine. I gave it in Discord between a 6.5 and a 7. IMDb has it as a 4.9, but only 214 people have done it. Is he my type? I mean, super hot, gorgeous guys, yeah. Completely unobtainable, of course. That would be my type. I think I'm gonna give it a 6. Not because it's a bad movie. It's better than average. It's enjoyable. It could be a good date movie. There you go. You can go watch that. The Fabulous Four. I was the only guy in the theater. There was 2 older ladies, a couple rows in front of me. And then another lady came in who knew them, and she sat in front of them. And for some reason, the one lady checked her phone like 5 times. And I'm like, aren't old women supposed to be Karens? Put your phone away. And then there was I'm assuming mother and daughter, maybe it's aunt and niece, I don't know. Younger girl and older lady. But I feel like she wasn't as young as me, maybe. So, well, there was like, what was that movie I said that there was a guy in? What movie was that? Was that Longlegs? When I said that, no, there was girls in that? It was A Quiet Place where there was a guy. Yeah, the girls was Longlegs. That was the group of younger girls. Yeah, I was a guy in sorry, Quiet Place. I know I'm just going to talk about the same thing. That's what I figured. Yeah, there was a group of younger girls in Longlegs, and then the second time I saw Longlegs, it was 2 other girls. So, but anyway, The Fabulous Four, 6 out of 10. Perfectly decent, hee hee ha ha funny movie. Hot dude in a thong. What more could you ask? You can watch it with your grandma. She can watch the dude in the thong. Oh, I remember back in the day the boys didn't wear thongs like that. Now the final movie I'm going to review in this stream is my favorite of the bunch. It is not The Long Game. Why is it like not giving me? It's like Shelley Long. The Long Game. It's Longlegs. Oh, I don't know if you heard me say this. Prince, the main character in Longlegs, she's the same girl as the main character from It Follows. I had no idea. I put these soundproofing things, hoping that it would absorb some of the sound of the air conditioner. I don't think it's actually doing anything. I thought I'd give it a go. But she's the same girl from It Follows. I had no idea. I was watching that movie, it didn't dawn on me, had no idea. Because I liked It Follows. I thought that was a good horror movie. Really made you think. Yeah, I had no idea. I was watching this little advertisement thing that was playing on IMDb, and it said like the new faces of horror, and it had her in that, and then it had her in Longlegs, and I'm like, what? All right, Longlegs. Apparently, it's a very divisive movie. People don't know if they like it or hate it. Why on earth is she wearing like a leather bikini top to the premiere? That is bizarre. Okay. In pursuit of a serial killer, an FBI agent uncovers a series of occult clues that she must solve to end his terrifying spree. Killing spree. It's a different one. FBI agent Lee Harker is a gifted new recruit assigned to the unsolved case of an elusive serial killer. As the case takes complex turns, unearthing evidence of the occult, Harker discovers a personal connection to the merciless killer and must race against time to stop him before he claims the lives of another innocent family. I haven't read all the little tidbits and facts about this movie yet. So, Longlegs is a very atmospheric, tense, spooky horror movie. This is what I would say is an actual horror movie. And it's also a crime and a thriller. So, for me, it gave me kind of Silence of the Lambs vibes, because it reminds me of Jodie Foster's character, Starling, trying to solve this murder, and there's a personal aspect, like how Hannibal Lecter knew her. But it also gives me like X-File vibes, because again, it's an FBI agent, and there's strange occult things that are happening, and some of the agents are just kind of like, well, that's a strange coincidence, and she's just kind of like, because she's kind of believing it more. Yeah, it's written by Oz Perkins. I don't know who that is. Apparently he played Dorky David in Legally Blonde. He was in Star Trek. He was a communications officer. That's crazy. Alright, no problem. I won't hold it against you. I'm just going to sit here and gush about Longlegs for a bit. Don't forget to like the video. So this movie takes place in the 90s, and so nobody has like cell phones or anything. There's no internet. I should be free Saturday. Top of my head. I might stream tomorrow. Bye. So when I saw the trailer for this movie, I was immediately interested in it. It felt tense. It felt odd. It felt weird. I didn't even know Nicolas Cage was in this movie until I saw TikToks about it before I saw the movie. I didn't know Nicolas Cage was going to be in it. Which I don't know if that's just like a thing for me, not knowing. But I wasn't expecting it. I mean, I knew before I went into the movie. And also, Blair Underwood's in it, who I recognize him from other things, but I couldn't tell you what. Alicia Witt. Oh, she was in the original Dune. Look at that. She played Lee Harker's mother, Ruth. Anywho, So I don't want to spoil anything, plot points, anything like that, because it's very important, I feel, to go into this movie not knowing things. To me, it knowing any part of the plot would probably kind of hinder your ability to really immerse yourself into the film. It cracks me up because I've talked to people who didn't like this movie, and I just don't get it. Like, I'm so into it, so into it. So we see Lee Harker. Obviously, she has some type of touch of maybe partial psychic ability. I mean, it's mentioned by her boss. He calls her half psychic. Is better than no psychic, is what he says. She just kind of has this touch about her where things just kind of come to her. Like an extra intuitiveness, like a gut feeling that she can solve cases in that way. So they bring her in to be on this case of Longlegs, a murderer, a serial killer who doesn't seem to be connected to his own serial killings. So the killings are usually a homicide-suicide, where I think they were always the father kills every family member and then kills himself. And there's always a letter from Longlegs there, but the letters are written in a cryptic key, which they haven't deciphered yet, but it's signed Longlegs. So they're not sure how this is happening, how it's going on, because he doesn't have any DNA in the houses. He's not leaving any clues. They have no idea how this is occurring. And it's been going on for decades. I think they said the first one was in the 70s, and this movie takes place in the 90s. So this has been going on with families getting killed a whole bunch. I don't remember where they say it takes place. It doesn't really matter much. But, yeah. So anyway, she's brought in to help with that. And as the story goes on, there's a lot of creepy things, obviously. There's some really fun... I'm not going to say that, because we'll talk about that next. But let's just focus on the story. Okay. As the movie goes on, you learn more and more about Lee Harker and Longlegs, and it's this puzzle that's just kind of connecting in front of you, these little pieces. Now, you could say that the reveal is kind of predictable. I could see that, because there were little hints, but I think it was more so in-your-face hints. I don't think they were really trying to hint about it, to be honest. I think they just kind of like, hey, here you go. This is where we're going. I don't think they were trying to be secretive about some of it. The whole vibe of the movie is just super heavy and, to me, super good. Anytime we're shown something in the past, the aspect ratio is boxed in, and which makes you feel like you're watching a home movie or something like that. Or like how movies were more boxy, or television movies, things like that stuff. And then it expands for modern times. There were a couple times where we'd actually see it expand, and it was a really cool effect that they did to show the connection of the past to the present. And I thought that really, really worked for me. Yeah. We can't not talk about Nicolas Cage in this movie. Nicolas Cage plays Longlegs, and if you've seen images of him on the internet, I mean, it's on TikTok, it's, he looks crazy. Now, I wasn't expecting his visuals when I saw the movie. Because I only saw, pieces of his face in the social media stuff, so I wasn't expecting it. He does look a little bizarre. He does look, kind of like a botched plastic surgery patient. Sorry, I'm like rereading my notes. So he does kind of have this weird, like, puffier face. He looks like somebody who got Botox. Like, if you look up bad plastic surgery, that's kind of what he looks like. Which is comical looking, I'm not gonna lie. It does look goofy, and it does look comical. But he looks deranged with it. He doesn't just look like somebody who was trying to be pretty. Like, it looks haphazard. It looks homemade. Like, it looks bizarre. Yes, you can laugh at it. People were laughing at it in the theaters, and that's fine. Like, I understand that it's a laughable look. But for me, because it looks so unprofessional, like he did the work himself kind of thing, it makes it that much more jarring and unsettling to me. It just kind of, it kind of skeeved me out a bit. And not to mention, if that guy is in your yard talking to your child, you're not going to think, look how goofy that guy looks. No, you're going to be freaked out because he looks insane. So I don't understand people laughing at that, because there's nothing funny about the way he looks and when he's talking to your kid, okay? Nothing funny about that whatsoever. Anyway, he does have it, and he also burst out into song, which, again, is creepy. And it sounds goofy. I know that it sounds goofy, you know. I don't know the lines. Hold on. Let me see if they have the lines on here. Wildly overrated trash. I can't believe somebody said that. Where's a quote? I know there's probably a quote. Here's a quote. Here it is. He says, "Let me in now, and it can be nice. Make me go now, and I'll have to come back. Not once, not twice, but as many times as I like." If this man is looking at you, looking the way he does, and he starts singing that on top of his lungs, going, it's funny for you as the audience. But it's not funny if you're in the movie. Like, if you put yourself in that character's shoes, that is some of the most unsettling stuff you will experience in your life. Can you imagine if you're, like, at, I don't know, in public, or you're on your property and somebody walks into your house and says that? Like, insane. Like, it made me uneasy in the theater seeing it. And like I said, people did laugh. My first viewing of it, the girls were just laughing. And my second viewing of it, the two girls, they laughed. But they're like, ugh, he's really creepy. And it's like, yeah, he is creepy. Because, again, I understand that it looks goofy and sounds goofy. He's like, like, I get that. 100%. But you just have to put yourself in the movie. Like, if you're immersed in it, the way I immerse myself in my movies, it was very unsettling. So, and he does those things quite a bit. He just has this really bizarre way of talking. Like, oh, it's the almost birthday girl. It's creepy. Like, it's hard to do it justice. It is a slow movie. It is very much a slow burn of a movie. You go from crime scene to crime scene. They're piecing together clues. That's why, to me, it felt like kind of like an X-Files episode, but like a long X-Files episode. Because you have these agents, and they're going through these motions, and then there's a spooky thing that happens to them, but they're trying to figure out the mystery of this murder, and it just works for me. It works for me. I wouldn't say that it's fairly gory. It's not super gory. There's like crime scene photos. there are people getting hit by like an axe, but it's not horror movie axe, you know, where they're getting chopped up into pieces. It's like thriller type of thing, like suspense. Like they get hit and yeah, blood comes out, but that's not the focus of the scene. Like somebody getting hit by an axe isn't the focus of it's the action of somebody being hit by an axe. That's my traps look huge. Is the focus of the scene. Not so much the blood and gore, which I think really works. And I think that makes the movie a bit more approachable for more people. But again, it is fairly slow in the movie. There's a lot of ambiance. There's a lot of scenes, like scenery. There are like long shots of the characters walking in the farm. There is some sound manipulation that I mentioned in Violent in Nature, where the sound is elevated in some places, or the characters are further away walking, and you hear the sound as if they're right next to you, type of situation. They do play around with the sound of breathing in quite a few spots. And none of these, I didn't mind any of these things. All these things were fine to me. I don't know. It's hard because I really did like it. Did I review it the second time too? Yeah. So there is some hidden imagery in the movie that I saw in one scene specifically near the end, and I was like, "Whoa, wait a second. Was that something in the background?" So I saw the movie a second time because I liked it that much, and I wanted to see more of this imagery. And sure enough, throughout the movie, there is more of this imagery in the backgrounds. Not a bunch, but there is some here and there. And it was funny because one of the girls who was watching it with me, not with me, but next to me in the second time, she's like, "Yo, did you see that?" And the other girl's like, "What?" She's like, "There was a thing in the background." And I'm just like, I did see it. But it's funny because then I end up missing the thing I saw the first time around. I missed it the second time around. I was like, what is wrong with me? But yeah, so I don't know. I hear people's complaints about it. And I guess it's just a personal thing. Like, people said it didn't do anything for them. They didn't have anything. One of my friends, I'm going to look at what he said. Did I post that in the wrong section? Oh my god, I did. Where did I post it? Oh, shit. I don't know where I posted it. But anyway. My friend said the case had nothing to hook him in, so he never felt invested in it. All the reveals that came later were dumb. The whole movie insists that Nicolas Cage was supposed to be creepy and unsettling, but never did anything that really justified that for me. Doesn't help that Nicolas Cage is screaming and it sounds comical. I can see that. Acting is mostly mid. Cinematography really did anything interesting. I don't agree with that. Music was so in the background, which I agree. They try to jump scare you with it. Well, I mean, that's part of the horror. And then somebody else said it didn't deserve the hype. It was fine, not as good, not bad, not good, not really memorable. But they like the aspect ratios. So again, it's very what you're looking for. I watched the trailer. It looked like a tense mystery type of movie with horror aspects, occult aspects, and that's what I got. So for me, I liked it. I liked it a lot. Like, so much that I saw it twice, so much that I want to see it again, so much that I want somebody else to see it with me so I can experience them experiencing it. Of course, I don't have any friends who would do that. So my one friend led me on, and she said that it looked pretty good. And I was like, well, let's go see it. She's like, nah, I don't want to. I don't sit through 2-hour movies without being invested in them. Like, even if it's free, like, come on. But anyway, Longlegs. I just really enjoyed it. I still have some questions about it because there's just a lot of mystery about things. But sorry, it's showing me the trailer and it's like I want to watch it again. Like I wish there was somebody else that I could watch it with. You know? So I'd have a reason to go see it for a third time. I don't know. I don't see how you can't think Nicolas Cage is creepy in it. Nicolas Cage is creepy in it. He looks creepy. He behaves creepily. I mean, he's really creepy towards children in a way, but not in like a priest clergy type of way, if you catch my drift. Just kind of whimsically odd, but evil whimsical because of his Satanism. I don't know. I don't want to give anything away, but for me, it just felt good. Well, not good, but felt like a good movie. Enjoyable. I liked it. Oh, I put it in the wrong section. That's why. Okay, that explains it then. I put it in your video stuff instead of in your live section. Anyhow, so Longlegs, rating. Whew. I definitely want to give it at least a 9. I know that's crazy. It has a 7.2 right now on IMDb. Does it have a budget thing here? It underperforms. I don't get that. Opening weekend made 22 mil. Currently sitting at 74 million. Doesn't say its budget though. I don't think it was probably that high. Maybe a couple million, 10 million maybe. I mean, Nicolas Cage is in it. But I mean, I feel like he's the kind of guy who's willing to do things for cheaper. So. Oh. Nicolas Cage and Oz Perkins made the movie as a tribute to their mothers. See, he was so off-putting that it could potentially scare viewers off. Nicolas Cage or Brad Pitt? I don't think Brad Pitt would have been able to do that. Oh, the writer and director, Osgood Perkins, is the son of Anthony Perkins, who played Norman Bates in Alfred Hitchcock's Psycho. Wow. I did get the musical reference of Bang a Gong. I did get that. They showed like lyrics or some, like, it looked like a poem on the main, like in the beginning, and I was just like, I'm reading it and I'm like, you're so sweet, 100 on you, you're dirty sweet and you're my girl. And I'm like, wait, is that song lyrics? And then it said T-Rex. I'm like, T-Rex, is that Bang the Gong? And I'm sitting there through the whole opening credits and I'm like, dirty sweet and you're my girl, dirty sweet and you're my girl, like trying to place it, and it is Bang a Gong, get it on. And I was just like, oh, why? I mean, it later on it's fine, but so yeah, I don't want to. Is there anything I didn't like about the movie? Okay, So there was an issue. So there's a scene where we're showing a videotape of Longlegs, and the audio in it is not great. So the movie takes place in the 90s. The audio sounds very bad, and they fluctuate the volume of it for tension reasons, and it sometimes makes it hard to understand what Longlegs is saying, which I guess is kind of in character because that's what he does, but I would have liked to hear a bit more of that, so that kind of bothered me. That's really the only things I had that I didn't like. It's crazy. Some of the sound stuff with the breathing, it felt a little over the top. Like, I don't need to hear you go sometimes. I thought the cinematography was good. There were times when we got to see through the eyes of other characters, and I like that. I thought there were a lot of fun shots, and a lot of times the character was framed in a certain way that felt like a stereotypical horror movie. So if the character was here looking at an item, and you just had this open space behind them, and you're like, something's going to happen back there. So you're watching the character but you're at the same time trying to look at the side because you're like, I don't want to miss what's going on over here, but then I don't want to be jump scared. And a lot of times it wasn't actually anything. It's just how they frame the characters in the scenes. But it just creates this sense of tension and foreboding that you're just like, like you're ready, like you're being edged. You're gooning, bro. Like you're just trying to figure out what's going to happen next. So, is it a perfect 10 to me? I'll say no. But I will give it a 9 out of 10. I genuinely, thoroughly, really enjoyed this movie. Like, so much. And it baffles me that people didn't like it. I get it, why people wouldn't like it. Like, I get that you might think it's goofy and this stuff, but I don't know. I think that it's one of those movies where being in the right frame of mind going into it and being open to ideas that are different or weird or bizarre or even campy, that really will help mold your viewing of the movie. Because if you go into it expecting a horror slasher film where Longlegs just chasing people down with whatever weapon, that's not what you're going to get. This is a slower, tense, like ambiance thing. And I understand that's not for everyone. It is for me though, and it worked for me. And I am tempted to go watch it for a third time, which is crazy. I think the only other movie I saw 3 times in theaters recently was Barbie. But I got a little sick of that one. I don't know. I like hearing other people's reactions to it. So, but anyway, so yeah, Longlegs, 9 out of 10. That's what we're rating it. And that's all the movies in the thumbnail, guys. So that's pretty much it. I hope you enjoyed this live, unscripted, rambling video about Maxxxine, A Quiet Place, Part 1, The Fabulous Four, and Longlegs. And I hope you check these movies out. They actually were all fairly good. We didn't have any movies that were duds that I wouldn't ever watch again. I would probably watch all of these again, especially if somebody else wanted to watch them. I'm going to buy Longlegs though. I'm going to have that on physical. Looking forward, we got some good movies coming out. There's another horror movie I want to see called Cuckoo. That looks pretty tense. I still need to see Deadpool and Wolverine. I've got a few spoilers out there which annoy the piss out of me, but it's fine. What are you gonna do? There's another M. Night Shyamalan movie coming out called Trap that looks interesting. There's a new Alien movie, Alien Romulus, that I want to go see. That comes out fairly soon. Deadpool has made 211. Deadpool's raking in the money right now, and it's great. It's great for that movie. It ends with us. Doesn't look very interesting. My friend's gonna see it, so maybe if she asks me, I'll go see it with her. Borderlands does not look like something I want to see. Will I see it? Maybe. I wouldn't mind seeing Coraline, but it's a Fathom event, and I'm probably not going to spend the money on that. Although it is, I may think I see it on Tuesday. Reagan? Had no interest in watching a movie about Ronald Reagan. Oh, The Fifth Element? They're bringing The Fifth Element back into theaters? And Blazing Saddles, too. I've never seen Blazing Saddles, but I love The Fifth Element. There's Cuckoo. They have Rear Window is another Fathom event. Lawrence of Arabia. Again, I wouldn't mind seeing Lawrence of Arabia. But it's like, these Fathom events, man, they cost money. And, you know me, I'm a cheap guy. I like to not pay for movies. But if they are on Tuesdays, I can see them what's the word we're looking for, guys? On a discount for half price. So, but anyhow, I probably won't see Twisters. I don't really want to see Twisters. And it's crazy because, like, it's doing very well and people are talking about it and everything. And, like, I have zero interest in seeing Twisters. Like, at all. And I don't know if I'm trying, am I trying to be edgy or something by not wanting to see Twisters? I don't think that's the case. Oh, Mara Tierney's in it. I do like her. It just, it feels like the type of movie that you know what it's going to be, you know? The trailer shows you there's a girl and she has a technology. She wants to test it to, I guess, destroy tornadoes. Her test goes horribly wrong and people die, I'm assuming, her co-workers, and somebody's like, you know what I mean? Like, it seems very obvious. And she gets a second chance with the hot cowboy dude. Yeehaw! If you chase it, you do it, or something. Whatever that line is. Something about riding it. I don't know. Played by Glenn Powell, and it just, you know, destruction. And obviously there's probably going to be a success, and roll credits. I probably have forced love interest between them. I would love if there wasn't a love sequence between them, but there probably is. But anyhow, that's gonna be it. Let me just show you this. I'm gonna show you real quick. I got a CD for my birthday, and I've been waiting for it. It finally came. It's Empire of the Sun. Ask That God. But what I didn't know is that I was getting a signed postcard as well from Nick Littlemore and Luke Steele. Isn't that fantastic? I like the album so far. Some of it's a little jammy, chill music, so it's a little harder to like sing to. Because you know me, I like to sing along to stuff. But I've been listening to it, reading the lyrics as I go along, trying to sing to it because Luke Steele has a very specific way of singing, and sometimes he kind of extends sentences in weird places. It makes it hard for me to sing along because I'm not expecting that type of cadence. But anyway, that's going to be it. I don't know what video we're going to do next week. I don't have anything planned So if you can think of anything, put it in a Discord or comment it here on this video. But thanks for watching, and I will see you guys again soon. I'll try to get a TikTok out this weekend. All right, bye.